Hi. So this is the first in a series of videos I'm intending to do about John Lennon's stamp collection, because John Lennon, when he was a teenager, he had his own stamp album, as most kids did back in those days, back in the 1950s. So I've decided to make a series of videos about his stamp album and go through the whole thing and have a look and see what was in there. Now, before I go any further, just to mention, I'm doing a voiceover in this video, which is something I don't normally do. Those of you who've seen my other videos will know that they're usually kept silent all the way through. Now, I have been wondering whether to do voiceovers on my videos before, but this is the first time I've actually done so, and I will be doing for the John Lennon ones. So as far as my other videos are concerned, let me know in comments if voiceovers are something you'd like me to be doing in those ones as well, because I'm kind of on the fence about it, and if people generally like the idea, then perhaps that's something I'll do in my other videos too. So anyway, back to John Lennon's stamp collection. So I've always been a Beatles fan, incidentally, always been a John Lennon fan, and of course always a stamp collector, so it makes sense for me to put those two things together and make some videos. His album, he had just the one album. It's been acquired by the Smithsonian National Postal Museum in Washington DC, and they photograph the entire contents, and you can go to their website and see photographs of all the pages, which is, it's just fantastic to have a look through and see, you know, his collection in full like that. So great work from Smithsonian Postal Museum. I'll put a link to their website in the description here, and I would encourage you to have a look. Just visit their website and check it all out, because it's great to see. So my idea to recreate his album, all the stamps in his collection were very commonplace, cheap stamps, the kind you find all the time. And of course, as viewers will know, I've got a stack of old stamp albums which I regularly trawl through, looking for sets of stamps and so on for my other videos. So the idea here is I'm going to go through all those old albums, page by page, and reassemble like replicas of John Lennon's stamp collection, and I should be able to do the whole lot and hopefully get it more or less complete, but we'll see how it goes as time goes on. John Lennon's collection was kept in a Stanley Gibbons Mercury stamp album, and my initial idea was to try and find one on eBay and use that, take the stamps out and reassemble from scratch using that album, but it's proved to be impossible to do. I just cannot find one the same. There are other ones on there. He specifically had the 6th edition of the album, and of course as time goes on, these pre-printed albums, the contents change, the page numbering changes and so on. As more stamps are issued, countries come into being or disappear, and so I couldn't find one exactly the same. So I did what I do and decided to just make my own pages. So what I've done, I've designed the basic page on Microsoft Word, and it looks pretty close to exact. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's good enough for what I want, and I should be able to make blank pages to replicate all the pages in John Lennon's collection, and one by one I can go through them and fill them up with stamps. So you can see on screen here my handiwork. It's pretty good. I'm happy with the way it's turned out. So what I'm going to do, without further ado, we'll go to the first page of John Lennon's collection, which was page 5 of the album, Great Britain Definitive Stamps, and let's have a look and see what I can find. Right, so this is my first feeder album, and as you can see, it has a penny red, which is perfect because that's the one we need to start with. So I'll put that in place on the page to begin. Now the rest of the stamps on this page, nearly all of them, are King George VI definitives, and conveniently enough, the top row of John Lennon's collection is pretty much all there on the page. So it's just a case of transferring them from one page to the other, and I'm just laying them in position for now. I'll do the actual mounting with stamp hinges later on. I think all of the Great Britain stamps in John Lennon's collection are pre-Queen Elizabeth. so they would have been all collected prior to 1953. And most of the ones on this page are King George VI, as you can see in the thumbnail in the bottom corner. And there's the first row done, so that was nice and easy. Managed to put this one in the wrong place, but soon realised. And one more. And that's it for this album. So let's get another album out and see if we can find some more space fillers. Right, you can see here there's a bit of a problem which I haven't quite worked out yet, and that's how to lay out the information on the screen, because I want you to be able to see the page I'm working from in my album, the page that I've made that I'm filling up, and also the thumbnail of John Lennon's album page. Haven't quite figured that out yet, as you can see from this, but I'll have a think about that. If you have any suggestions, let me know in comments, but I'll have a think about that and see how I can improve the layout on the screen there. Now that one there is in a bit of a state, and I've managed to find a better example so that can replace the one that I had originally. Now this stamp and the one which follows, they're not in great shape these, but they are the only ones that I've found so far, so I'll take them, but I'm hoping to find better examples that I can swap them out for. And this stamp is going to complete row 2, and we're actually pretty close to completing this page now. Here's one that I need. Now those two poor condition stamps that I found in the last album, there are better examples of them here. But this first one, I tried to take it out thinking it was just stuck lightly to the page, but in actual fact it was stuck fast and it tore. So I'm going to discard that one. But this one's a keeper, and that's an upgrade on the one I had to begin with. So what I've done, all the stamps that I need for this page are put into a stock book in the right positions, as you can see on the left there. So it's just a case now of hinging them, putting them on the paper. It's actually proved quite easy to fill up this page. which is, I wasn't completely sure at the start. I expected I'd find most of them, but you can never be sure you're going to find all of them. So I did well on this page, and this project's off to a good start. Now there was one stamp in John Lennon's collection which I didn't find in my albums, and the reason I didn't find it is because it has an army service overprint on it, and I wanted to make sure that I had one that also had that overprint. So I had to have a rummage through some old packets of swap season leftovers that I have, and I found one, not in great shape. Perforations have been cut off on the edge, but it's okay, it fills the space, and it's better to have it like that, I think, than not at all. So I'm happy with that, and with that stamp this page is completed. And there we have it. So here's the finished result. John Lennon's album page on the left, mine on the right. I wouldn't mind betting this is the first time this has ever been done, that someone's tried to replicate a whole album page like this from John Lennon's collection. And I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. Next time I'll be doing the rest of his Great Britain stamps, pages 6 and 7. So please tune in for that one, and please like and subscribe.